Hey everyone, I have Yure Covich coming in to join me for a chat, and I'm thrilled that he's here because we go way back when we used to teach together at the same school. But he left and created his own program called 75% Old School for all the young actors out there, which is so cool. And I'm so excited to dive into that and get all that info out there for you. But other than that, Yuri's also graced us with his talents on the big screen and our TV screens. And I'm just so thrilled that he's here to share his journey with you. Yuri, thank you so much for joining me.
Hey, pleasure. Pleasure. I'm very well, thank you. How you going? Good?
Yeah, good. Good. Everything's going
Great.
really
Good.
well. So I'm just
Nice.
so happy to have you here. And I'd love for you to
Yeah,
share your background and everything as, how you
sure.
started, where you're going, what you're doing.
I have a studio called 75% Old School. It's an actor's studio. Don't just work with actors. I work with all types of people. People come in for confidence, things like that. Mostly actors, probably 90% actors. Sometimes agents send me their actors. They come in for self-tapes. We run acting classes, some in groups, some private. Been running it for about 6 years now. I worked for, the NIDAs and the ATYPs, McDonald College, other acting places around Australia, things like that. And just decided to go out and do it myself. And it's just been going ever since. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's fun. It's great.
it's great. I
Yeah,
love seeing everything a part of it. Like, because I remember us having a conversation about it years ago when we were teaching together.
yeah,
And then I remember like just seeing you go and do it. I thought that's awesome. I really admire everyone that steps out and does their own thing
yeah,
and creates something from the ground up. I think it's really cool.
yeah. It's hard at first, and it gets has its hard days. I think my worst thing is sometimes I'm like business is. I'm not a businessman. I don't think I'm an actor, and I still do it. And it's like when business is really good, like really busy, you're waking up to heaps of emails. I'm like, oh, I just want to go surfing, and then and then so I become my worst employee. Like also, and then when it's not as good, you go like, oh man, I need the business. You're trying to get things going.
Yeah.
So it's yeah, that's who I am. I'm not
Life
quite
balance.
yeah, I'm not quite Elon Musk. So just balancing it all out.
Oh,
But
God,
yeah,
that's so
I
cool.
love it. Yeah,
So cool.
yeah.
And how did you get into acting? Like, what was it? Was there a certain age that you thought this is what I want to do for a career?
Yeah, probably about 3 years old, getting dragged up in my sister's dresses, and I was like, this is it for me. And that was in Western Australia where I grew up. And then like certain parts of Western Australia, young boys dragging up isn't that popular. So I became a roof plumber and did my trade over there. And then I wasn't a very good roof plumber, and but I was entertaining on the site. So I did an English degree, and then auditioned through to eventually get into NIDA here, ages ago now, and then just went on from there. Got my agent, and auditioned like everyone else, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
you've been a part of really incredible things too. Like you hit the big screens
yeah,
and lots of commercials.
yeah.
Like, even if I see your face in the commercial, I'm like, hey, there's Yuri again.
Yeah, I mean, like it's I've weirdly had my most, for want of a better word, successful 12 months in the past 12 months over the two at the end. Started at the end of the last lockdown, and we got to film through this lockdown safely. And it just kind of one thing led to another. There was a lot of gigs here. I don't think I'm allowed to talk about one, but I'm allowed to talk about the Melissa McCarthy one that I shot on earlier this year for 5-6 weeks up in Byron. And they just happened to be here because there was a pandemic, so it was just luck. Otherwise, they would have been in LA or somewhere else, So,
How awesome is
so
that? Like, I mean,
yeah,
something good came out of the pandemic. like,
yeah, yeah. So it was just, it's you be ready for the luck. I think in this gig, whether it's acting or dancing, but if it's and then it just comes along. You can't control that. I can't control that there was a pandemic, and so Marvel and Netflix decided to bring more shows here because we
yeah,
were the safest for a second. And so that's not in my I didn't train for that.
yeah, that's it.
So yeah, yeah. But
Absolutely. You
it's,
just kind
it's
of go
been
with the flow
good.
with it.
Yeah. Oh, you have to. Yeah, you can't. I think it's when actors go, I've got a 5-year plan, or you see workshops that's about kind of trying to control this gig, you're really setting yourself up. There is an element of control, of course. You know what I mean? Like, learn your lines. Don't party the night before an audition, or opening night, things like that. But 5-year plans and stuff. It's I don't think it's you can really do that to yourself as an artist if you're in here for the long haul.
Yeah,
If
that's it.
you
You've got to learn to be
love it. Yeah.
flexible and,
Yeah.
go with the flow, but yet you've got like an outcome that you want to hit. But at the same time, you've also got to you're always going to get thrown a spanner in the works, like always, even if you're on set, even if you're going to an audition, like it doesn't matter. But I think you've just got to be prepared, however you can be, and being prepared as in being open to whatever.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
And using your training, like your training will come into play when, it's ready to go. Like that's when you can rely on, all of that training, whether it's been years, whether it's been 1 year. But I was going to ask you, so about your studio, tell us more about that. So you've been running it for about 6 years, and where are you guys based for everyone to know?
So I'm out at Fox Studios in Building 11, which is kind of been an iconic building for a long time. There's casting agents are out here, Tribal Apes, people hire studios in and out through here. It's always that thing in Sydney to find a space that's affordable, that you don't have to transfer those fees onto the students and the actors, because you try to get as many actors from any different diversities as possible, whether that's socioeconomic or cultural, to come here is always the goal. And if you make the fee too high, then it's you're only going to get a certain type of person. But so I started it 6 years ago. It reminded me of Western Australia. I used to work down south there. I'm a surfer, Margaret River, and there used to always be places, collectives. These are the original ones, not kind of Instagram sort of collectives up in Byron. It was like you pulled off the side of the road, and it'd be all people sharing. It was like I want to say the original sort of stuff, and that's kind of what I wanted here. I wanted a collective where people could meet, make films, go away, and that's kind of happened over the 6 years now. And it's the biggest stoke, I think, to see that coming from the studio, to see artists getting work, to see them on TV. And even the highest stoke is to sort of go to a gig as an actor, and there's one of your students there who's also you're acting with, and that to me it's like just the biggest buzz. And
I used to feel strange. I used to feel strange having students be in the same audition, as in going, all of a sudden you kind of go, do I feel old? Is that where I'm going with this now? I don't know.
No,
or is this really cool?
Take it the other way. No, it's flattering, because I go I've got my students in their 20s, and I'm going to the audition. I'm like, still got it, man. I'm still here. I'm still kicking. My age range is 18 to 60. So, it's I take it as flattering when I see a young student and I'm in the same audition.
That's so cool.
It's not happening as much anymore, but
Yeah, well, things will pick up again, I'm sure, now as we're going through everything. And but I was going to say, what's the age groups that you take? What's the youngest that you take on?
Oh man, at the moment my youngest is 11. He comes in for private. It can go all the way down to it's usually about 7. I started teaching for NIDA. My youngest was 3 to 5 year olds.
Wow.
Which was where I kind of, learnt to teach, I guess, which was a great classroom. And then I'd do it at different preschools around. This is while I was at NIDA, I was teaching. And then it goes all the way up to 60, 70, people like that can come in. And then, self-tapes, it's just, all different types. But I guess, generally it's 18 to 30 is kind of the age range, I guess, that is sort of really the most people sort of trying to kick it as an actor. Generally.
And they don't have to audition or anything. It's mainly a place where they can come and learn. more.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I don't, I don't put on some classes. It's like, send me some footage, but there's never like you have to have done 12 classes before. There's not that process, because I think sometimes, some of the best actors cannot have had training before, and they just don't know it, and they've got this raw, amazing talent. They don't have an agent or anything like that, and they did it back when they were in Year 9, but someone said it's not a real career. You have to go and do this.
Yeah.
And then they've come back and they're actually really good. And then you can have someone who's, to me, it doesn't matter if you've done 5 years on Australian television. It doesn't make you a good actor.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you
Yeah.
only have to switch the TV on for 20 minutes to go like, well, but so I like all different types of people. I encourage, of course, diversity. I also encourage, accepting, I don't know that I might say the wrong term, but like people with anxieties, like on the spectrum, all those sort of people, because it's we're told so much. When I was growing up as an actor, and even you hear it now, it's like you have to be an actor 110%. You can't falter. And it's almost like we have to be these robots, but it's
perfection, before you
yeah,
get anything.
like,
yeah.
Don't be nervous. You can't be nervous. Nerves kill. And it's sort of like, well, it's all those things are what makes us a human. And it's what makes us human is what makes us really interesting to the camera or the stage. The minute we start acting to a technique or a box, then we start to be like the other 40, I think, and forget why we did it, which was for me dressing up as a 3-year-old in drag. We forget that's the time where we got the first kick of it. It was probably in that age group, made everyone sit down and watch me dance, like or do a monologue. I can't remember what I was doing exactly, but I'm sure
Probably
the show
a bit
amazing.
of both, if I know you.
Yeah, bit of everything. Yeah, not even triple threat, quadruple threat. I don't know what the fourth one is yet. It's osmotic. Awesome. Yeah, so but yeah, it's a great place. I love coming here. We ran it during lockdown. Some programs, I get assistance. Apply for grants to run certain programs and things like that from Create New South Wales. I don't want a big, massive school. Employing 20 teachers or anything like that. That's not really my thing.
Yeah.
And it's a place I think where actors, I basically teach from the great directors and teachers that I've had, and that was Nick Enright, Andrew Upton down at Sydney Theatre Company. Probably my second, third, and fourth grade teacher in primary school have a lot to do with it. Do you know what I mean? And their approach was always like, it comes from a place of support and love and respect. And all the best gigs I've worked on that I've enjoyed the most have had that quite strongly.
Yeah.
And then the teachers I've had in the classrooms I've walked into growing up, I don't go as a student much anymore, but the ones that came from a place of aggression and belittling and all off the bat of going like, well, that's what the industry is. And it's like, well, actually it's not. There's actually a lot of lovely people. And it was only in acting classes where I saw people get screamed at or yelled at. And it doesn't really happen on the gig. And thank God to certain movements,
Absolutely. I agree, because it's the same even in the dance world, like I was just saying this the other day, like, yeah, you can have healthy competition, but it should never feel like anything degrading within yourself of an artist.
Yeah.
So, wow, that person really made me feel terrible. It's not all of that, because a lot of the time, look, if you can take this whole COVID thing, like as an example, we all kind of band together. We all came together and said, how can we bring our arts out to the people still and bring them in, because everyone wants to feel good. Everyone wants to feel and we always go, well, what do we go to first? We go watch a movie, we go watch a TV series, we listen to some music, we watch some dance, like anything that inspires people. And it's like, that's who we are. And I just don't think it is the correct message to put out there to be like, well, yes, it is a tough industry. That's not a lie, but it's not tough in the sense of like people are just rude and brutal and bitter and I think that scares a lot of people. It scares a lot of people to really fight for like their passion and what they love, because they've been told that by maybe one person out of 10 men, let's say. So I agree with you.
And I totally agree with what you're saying as well. Look at us, just agreeing.
Look at us working back in the same office.
But I think it's like the thing is, when I see someone either auditioning and making it tough on the actor, or in a classroom making it tough, it's like, dude, it's already hard. It's already tough. Do you know what I mean? It's already like that. You don't have to make it more tough. And the great casting agents out there, or directors, or they don't come from that approach. They come from a supportive approach. And leaving somewhere like NIDA, it's not for a couple of years do you realise what the good and bad classes were. A lot of the time, you had a lot of feelings at acting school, which probably clouded clarity and pragmatism. But it's not for a couple of years where you go like, oh, that dude hadn't even been on a film set before ever, and he's teaching me constantly what to do, or screaming at me, or so I don't think you need to make it harder, because of course it's one of the most fun jobs in the world if you like it, but you don't I don't think you need to make it harder than it is.
No,
it can be hard some days,
Oh yeah, some days are real tough. And then, again, I think you always go back to the why. How did I start this? Why did I start this? Like you said, back at 3 years old, dressing up in drag, that was fun. And you wanted to go back to that feeling, all that kind of fun stuff. But on that, I want to touch more on that. And if you've got any advice out there for all the young actors, maybe where they can find you as well, get in contact with you, just give us some advice for them.
Look, I'm a big believer in live life as an actor. Like when I see someone say you have to give it 110% and acting is all you should do, I think they make for the most boring actors there are. The one I used to think it was Ruth Cracknell. I think she used it, but it ended up being Edgar Allan Poe. Is believe half of what you see and none of what you hear. That's 100%. Everyone's got advice for you, including myself, but no one wants to say they don't know the answer, which I think can be really dangerous. I mean, you go to LA, no one doesn't have the answer. Do you know what I mean? Everyone knows the right answer. No one goes like, no, I actually don't know the answer to that. Let's try and figure that out together. No one does that, which I think is really dangerous. Keep learning, I think, as well. Like keep learning, because it's whether that's acting or whether that's living, it's going to feed back into your art. I think the most dangerous thing you can be is sitting with your phone waiting for your agent to call at a coffee table in Surrey Hills, getting up at 11 and going to I just think that it's just not going to help you. And part of that is loving the family around you, loving the people around you that aren't actors. Don't just hang out with actors. Like that's never healthy. It's never great. It feels supportive, but it's not really good, because it's just because we get into each other's heads. Not that I don't have a lot of great friends that are actors and people I love, but because there's a few things coming through now that of course actors love, which is like keeping your lines raw and not learning them. So of course actors love that, because then we don't have to do the boring thing of learning their lines. But once you got those under your belt, then you've got freedom to play in there.
And where can people find you? What if they want to come in
here, they can find me
your
here.
Classes, how do they contact you?
I am. They can contact me via my website, 75% Old School.
Awesome. It's
Yeah.
been so cool having you here and sharing it. And
cool, man.
And I'd love to hear if people have reached out and gotten in contact and started up classes with you. How cool would that be?
Yeah, that'd be lovely. That'd be awesome. Like that'd be a lot of fun. Definitely come down, come and play. If you haven't done it for a while, do it. If you do it all the time, come here. At the end of the day, we're all teaching the same thing, really. It's just who you connect with up the front.
It's all about connection.
I believe in. Yeah. That's it.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Yure. It's been awesome chatting.
Pleasure. Loved
If
it.
you enjoyed that interview just as much as I did, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any upcoming interviews with Uncensored and Real. And then head into that description box down below and click on the link so you can be navigated and see everything that Uncensored and Real is a part of, from products to content. And my podcast is now available on Spotify. So I'd love to see you over there too. So until next time, I'll see you then.